Dr. Pooplove here, and in today's video, I want to make some predictions about whether The Last of Us 2's multiplayer will have the dodge button. So let's build this based on what we know. Naughty Dog has typically built their multiplayers and the mechanics of them based off their single player campaigns. You can see this with Uncharted's multiplayers in Uncharted 2 through 4. You're basically using Drake's movements as a model in order to capture the fast pace and adventurous controls of that game. You can also see this in The Last of Us factions, where you're using basically Joel as a model. A little bit more clunky, a little bit more grounded, but that approach that we love and are obsessed with. Fucking trash. In The Last of Us Part 2, you play as Ellie and Abby, and in that game, the movement is evolved from Part 1 with a little bit more fluidity and acrobatics. And in many ways, this kind of is a middle ground between the more grounded Last of Us original and a little bit more acrobatic Uncharted 4. The other thing to keep in mind is how Naughty Dog has addressed evolutions in gameplay within their series and how that has affected the multiplayer. Uncharted 2 and 3, for instance, never had a rope mechanic, and so their multiplayers didn't either. But when Uncharted 4 introduced Spider-Man mode, you saw it as well in the multiplayer. This evolution was brought over into the multiplayer as a key function. So although the sequel to Factions wasn't released along with The Last of Us Part 2, I think it stands to reason that the multiplayer movements will largely draw off of their most recent single-player installment. Thus, I do think that the dodge button will make its way into the multiplayer. How this is implemented, however, may be a bit complicated. My first concern with the implementation is, how does this work with peer-to-peer connections or even dedicated servers if that pipe dream ever happens? Would lag ever make it near impossible to implement this in a fair way? While this may be a concern, I think Naughty Dog may treat the dodge button almost like they did with the roll in Uncharted 4. In Uncharted 4, you could use the roll to get away from melee punches, and it worked great. Wait, what the fuck? That was kind of bullshit. So I think Naughty Dog will treat the dodge button in a similar but maybe less dramatic fashion to the roll from Uncharted 4, but they absolutely have to get this right, or else people are going to get annoyed and frustrated and call bullshit. So if they can get this right, then I could see it working. But there's also this element of how often can you use it? Naughty Dog really has to work to make sure that the dodge is not spammable and something that can be overused. Because one thing you know for sure is tryhards will abuse the fuck out of this. So what could they do? I think maybe they could implement a cooldown and perhaps tie dodging to the sprint stamina bar, where potentially you have 2 or 3 dodges that you can do before your stamina bar reduces, and you can choose between sprinting and dodging as a way to reduce that stamina bar. Additionally, you could see that this may be enhanced by perks with maybe a reduced cooldown for, I don't know, Dodge Master 1, 2, and 3, something like that. And they could also make it exclusive. Only if you have a certain perk can you actually dodge. So how do I feel about this? Well, what I would say is I liked the fresh changes to the gameplay between The Last of Us 1 and The Last of Us Part 2. I would welcome these types of changes into the multiplayer, but I absolutely think Naughty Dog has to get it right. They have to be able to implement it in a way that people find is fair and not frustrating to deal with. And if they can do that, which is a big if, then I think it would be great to have these things. Make the gameplay a little bit more fresh. Maybe change the pacing a little bit. Some people might not like that, but I welcome I welcome some changes to try to freshen it up because we always have the original to go back to. What do you guys think? Do you think Naughty Dog will put the dodge button in Factions 2? Or do you even want to see it in Factions 2? Let me know in the comments. But otherwise, have a good day and please subscribe.